And in continuing here with Seeing Orange with Bread, Syracuse basketball just came out with a 2014-2015 schedule. The game that I thankfully knew about beforehand got a little leg up on this, and it didn't come from you folks. So, I mean, it didn't come from Adrian. So, tight-lipped, did what he had to do, but it did. It actually, I got the opportunity to announce that Syracuse would be playing Duke on Valentine's Day in the Carrier Dome. Last time they played each other, 35,446, I believe. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was 35,012.
Was it 12?
Wait.
Four, six.
No, it was 35,446.
46 or 460, something like that.
Yeah, because the original record was 35,012.
The Georgetown, the year before.
Georgetown. So Syracuse beat that, almost had 35-5 for Syracuse-Duke for the first time ACC matchup. So this time around, they're playing on Valentine's Day. So I don't know how that's going to work out with Mr. Boeheim and his wife, but what do you think about Valentine's Day? I mean, is this a game to bring the lady out to? Is this a game where you show her how much you love her by not going to the game? How does it work out?
You know what? That's a game. If you win it, you got a happy Valentine's Day. If you don't, it's going to be a bad Valentine's Day for some wife.
How does it work out for you, though? I mean, obviously you have to be there. You're a coach, so you don't have a choice. How does the wife handle looking at the schedule and seeing, okay, well, Valentine's Day this year is not only a basketball game, but probably the biggest one you're going to have all year. How does she handle you not being home for Valentine's Day?
She's used to it now.
Okay.
That doesn't really bother her. We normally celebrate it before anyway. When you look at the schedule, if I know that, I'll get it. I'll get some things done. We'll celebrate Valentine's Day before that day, so it doesn't ruin her day.
For the couples that have a Syracuse fan and a Duke fan within that couple, how do you think that kind of works out? Because, I mean, there are couples out there that one's wearing Duke blue, one's wearing Syracuse orange, so now it's Valentine's Day. Do you put on the other shirt for your significant other, or do you keep that rivalry going?
Always keep the rivalry going.
Right.
Stay loyal. Do not switch over.
Now, you're saying that, but if it was a Duke fan considering switching over, maybe you would.
If you want to switch over to my team, then absolutely. But we don't switch over to the other team. No way.
So that game being the first time Syracuse is going to play Duke this season, because they will be going to Duke shortly after that. But that game on Valentine's Day, being a part of that atmosphere, it was an overtime game, great game, 91-89. What do you think about that? Because coaches out there will say a game is a game is a game, but you know it and I know it. There's games where there's that heightened level of, that atmosphere around you. You know it's loud. There's a ton of people everywhere. There's a lot of hype for it. There's a different feel in the air. Do you get that from Syracuse, Duke?
I think you do. I mean, I think the first two games that we played last year were well-played basketball games. They lived up to the hype, and they both had exciting finishes. Let's both say those are exciting finishes. So it's with everything that goes into it, with Coach K and Coach Boeheim, working together in USA and being good friends, and just kind of battling steering, being the one and two most winningest coaches. It just lived up to the billing. A lot of times you don't have that. So hopefully, again, it'll be able to match up to that and win. But we got a whole bunch of games before it even gets to that point. So that's what we'll worry about.
When you get 35,000 people to a regular season game, and you go to Washington, D.C., and you're in an Elite 8 game that sells out at 19,000, what does that say to you about Syracuse basketball? Because I've been in both venues. I was there Sweet 16 and Elite 8, and when I hear 19,300, whatever is a sellout, for Syracuse fans, that's a bad game. Yeah. So how do you kind of take the atmosphere?
Well, I think at the end of the day, the one thing about Syracuse, and I always tell people, even I went through it myself, you would never play on a stage like this, a support, playing in front of the Carrier Dome, even on a bad, not say a bad night, 24,000-25,000, that's still more than what NBA arenas, have. That's a sellout. It's only a handful of arenas that can do that. And what we do and the support that we have here upstate in Syracuse, for Syracuse basketball is no one can, it's not even close. It's really is not. The passion and the support that we have. So it's an unbelievable setting and stage. And again, when you walk into a building and there's 35,000 people just, excited to see a basketball game, it is a little different, but, it's a testament to the support that we have in the program that Coach Boeheim has built over the years, but the loyalty and the support that we have for Syracuse basketball is no one in the country has that.
Having that loyalty and that connection, no matter where Syracuse goes, Hawaii, anywhere, Syracuse on the West Coast, Syracuse goes north, south, east, west, wherever it may be, you always seem to find, up in Canada, whatever it may be, there's always a Syracuse fan, and then a second one, and a third, and a 10th, and a 50th. What can you say about Syracuse fans? Because I don't think there's any nook or cranny, North Dakota, Utah, Wyoming, that you're not going to find a Syracuse fan.
It's the brand is unbelievable. If you can get 35,000 people into the Carrier Dome in February with X amount of snow and X amount of distance control, and it doesn't stop people, that lets you know right there. So when we go travel somewhere, North Carolina, Miami, where it's hot, they still won't come. So, again, it's a testament to what Coach Boeheim has done with this program, and the brand, and what he's built here is unbelievable.
The ACC, to take a step outside of being a coach and just look at what you knew being at Syracuse, you weren't in the ACC at the time you were playing, obviously. A lot of players have talked about it. I've talked with John Wallace, talked with Lawrence Melton, Pearl Washington. How do you handle knowing that this is a different world? I mean, Syracuse, as Boeheim says, they're going to line up against anybody, they're going to play against anybody, but it's different. I mean, there's definitely Big East in the ACC, but it's not everything that it used to be. So how did you kind of handle year one with that?
Well, I think, again, you want to win, and all these teams are good, and, and the ACC, has always been one of the top conferences, regardless of whether we were in there or not. It's always been one of the top conferences. So, we transitioned to a very good conference, and, you just got to, we got to go out there and play, because those teams are just as good as the teams that we're playing against in the Big East. It's just something new, and I think, again, when change happens, it takes some time for people to adjust to change.
One of the changes that Syracuse has seen is not having Madison Square Garden as the home of that conference tournament anymore. It could be maybe in the future ACC, whatnot. I mean, I know the Barclays Center in Brooklyn is going to be a future venue, but not having MSG, this year you get it back. It's a 2K Sports Classic. It's not a Big East tournament, it's not an ACC tournament, but you're going to be in Madison Square Garden. What's that going to be like to bring this team, players that know what it's like to be there, and players that haven't experienced yet, to bring them to Madison Square Garden, which as soon as I said it, you got a smile on your face?
I mean, it's our home away from home, in our state. It's no secret, how well we play there and the support that we have there, and our alumni base is huge down there. So it's always an exciting time to go down to New York City and play at Madison Square Garden, most famous arena in basketball. So, everybody gets excited to go do that.
MSG, Greensboro Coliseum. Different world. Totally different world. How do you put the two next to each other? Nothing wrong with either one of them. It's just they're different. They're very different.
You can't compare Madison Square Garden. You really just can't. The history and everything. It's just one of those places that'll always be a special place. So and there's no knock on Greensboro. Greensboro's a great venue. There's a lot of support. It's a good place. They love basketball. They're just as passionate down there. But New York, Madison Square Garden, it's just kind of one of those things you can't replicate it, and you can't compare it.
And then on the other side of it, looking at the rest of the season, the first game that you have is against Carlton, which is a team that every few years Syracuse gets to travel. You get to go outside of the country, and Italy was on the mind. Canada ended up happening. You play 4 games. Carlton is a team who had beaten NCAA Division I men's basketball team before you. You go in there. It goes into overtime. It's a big test for Tyler Ennis, who at the time was a true freshman point guard going into his first season. Carlton's now coming to the Dome. Is this a game that you're excited about seeing, having this team come back, even though it's an exhibition game?
Well, I think, you get excited, for guys to get their feet wet and get ready for the season and be able to, to play in that setting and play in the Dome and to be able to be challenged, and Carlton is a very good team. They've had some success this summer already, being a couple of NCAA teams a game. So it'll be a good test for us. It'll be a good match.
The next team that Syracuse plays in exhibition is a team that you don't know, but it is you coming to the Dome. Adrian, Michigan is coming to the Dome. When you look at the schedule and you see Adrian, yes, it's a Michigan team, yes, it's an exhibition game, but I think, to you, it's got to be kind of cool you're bringing Syracuse up against a team with your name on it. I just think it's interesting to have something like that.
You know what? It is interesting. I've never, played against another team that actually had my first name. My first name is not a common name for universities or teams to have. So, it's kind of interesting.
The rest of the season, non-conference games, conference games, there's Villanova is in the mix, St. John's is in the mix. Obviously, Louisville's coming in, so you have St. John's, Villanova, Louisville now in the ACC, Pitt in the ACC, Notre Dame in the ACC, Miami, BC, Virginia Tech. All of these teams finding their way into the ACC or into the Syracuse schedule. There's still some of that Big East love when you know that you're playing these teams, even though there's no UConn or Georgetown this season. Do those carry any difference to you? I know a win is a win, but when you go up against these teams, is it good to see that some of that survived?
It is. When you play against the Pittsburghs and now you got Louisville back, back on the schedule. I think it is. It kind of gives you, that familiarity and that rivalry, and you know what type of game to expect, and it's going to be a big game. So, it is good to have those games on the schedule.
Rick Pitino is a very outspoken man. I think that's an understatement. He made the statement to me a couple years ago, to my face, at the Big East men's basketball media days down in New York City, that Louisville was good where they were in the Big East, had no want to move. We think it's finally over. This is our place. Kind of went off a little bit at another time about Jim Boeheim leaving and going to the ACC. And then Rick Pitino follows right in. Is Rick always the interesting character to have on the other side because he seems to have his own opinions, but yet he always ends up with Syracuse at some point?
Well, Coach Pitino is one of the best coaches, Hall of Fame coach, and, he has the right, he's earned the right to kind of speak his mind. Anytime you're inducted into the Hall of Fame and you're coaching, you've earned the right to say some things. So, he's very opinionated like most coaches are, and, it's interesting, but it just shows that at the end of the day, basketball coaches are that's what they are, basketball coaches. When it comes to the direction of a university program, they don't really have much say.
And at the end of it all, at the end of this season, 2014-2015, 3 of the last 4 games are on the road. Syracuse has been having this more often than not in the last few seasons, having to play a lot of road games at the end. Once you're getting down to the nitty-gritty, you're going into the tournament, you're trying to make the NCAA tournament. When you see that 3 out of 4 are on the road at the end, what does that say to you as a coach?
For me, I like it, because, you're preparing to go play in a tournament, your conference tournament, which for us will be on the road. And most of your season, at the end of the year, once you get into postseason, all the postseason is on the road. Right. So it kind of gives you kind of a preparation, get prepared to make that run.
So the excitement is here now. The schedule is out. People can be ready for it. It was under wraps even from you, 2014, 2015. Now that it's out, now that it's done, do you take some time in your office to sit back and look at and kind of game plan in your head? Because you watch a lot of film, so you know a lot of these teams that are coming in. You know what you're getting. You faced Cal recently. Obviously Villanova, St. John's, all the ACC. So do you take some time with the schedule once you get to see it in its entirety?
Absolutely. Once we get the schedule and it's official and we see it in its entirety, we sit down and, you look at the schedule and you kind of start planning out, mapping out, your scouts, team that you have, in this instance, you may switch a couple here and there just because, it may be just very difficult to scout 3 or 4 games in like 6 days, depending, I'm just giving an example.
Right.
So, you may switch a couple here and there just to make it, doable for everybody as far as the coaching staff and making things work. So, you sit down as a staff and you start to kind of go over the schedule and start setting up your games.
Schedule is out. Adrian Autry, Syracuse Orange men's basketball assistant coach, and myself, Dan Tortora, are also out here at Borio's Restaurant every single month. 8891 McDonald's Parkway in Cicero, New York. Love bringing you these videos. Love having you out here even more. Make sure you come out and see us. The season is on its way. I cannot believe that we're almost there. Been doing plenty of shows out here. Got to meet a lot of the families out here at Borio's. Looking forward to meeting you. And if the team, if they have a struggle here and there, go easy on this man to my right. Adrian Autry, Syracuse Orange men's basketball assistant coach, and Dan Tortora of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Seeing Orange with Red, which is what you're seeing right now. We'll see you again on wakeupcalldt.com from Borio's and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt.